friends, my name is Miss Bailey and welcome to our program for today. Now, this is a new cooking program for the children's department. Basically, I'm going to be trying different recipes and the program will be posted to our Facebook and YouTube channel every second and fourth Thursday of the month. So I'm really excited to get this program up and running. Let us know what type of recipes you'd like to see. Now I should note all of these recipes are going to be for kids to try, but it is important for caretakers to assist or supervise their young ones while they're whipping it up in the kitchen. So today I'm going to be making Totally Tea Cake Cookies from the Pink Princess Cookbook, and this is by Barbara Berry. And this book was actually lent to me by one of my coworkers, so you know who you are, so thank you for that. Alrighty, well let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first off we're going to be using butter, and I'm going to be using, so for this recipe we'll be using butter. It doesn't specify in the cookbook if it's salted or unsalted butter, but I'll be using the Land Lakes butter with canola oil. Next it calls for sugar, but I'm going to be using a sugar replacement. It is Splenda. And next we'll be needing 1 egg. Then we will need vanilla, some baking soda, some salt, and all-purpose flour. This recipe is asking that the butter is softened, and I've left this butter out for about an hour just so it can get a little soft. So it's calling for half a cup of butter, and I'm going to show you what half a cup looks like. I actually have all my measuring cups laid out already. This is what half a cup looks like, and we'll be using half a cup of butter. Alright, so I'm just going to take a large bowl and add my softened butter into it. Now, I would suggest using something to scrape the butter out of the cup, just because initially it's not going to want to come out. Okay, so now that I've added my butter into the bowl, I'm going to add half a cup of my Splenda to the bowl. And now I'm just going to go ahead and mix the two ingredients together for about 30 seconds. Okay, so I've mixed the butter and the Splenda together. I'm going to add my 1 egg. Now you always have to be careful when you crack open an egg. It's really easy for an accident to happen. So the easiest way to do it is to find a hard surface and just to do a double tap. 1, 2, and see our egg is cracked. And firmly press down on the crack and let it separate. The recipe is calling for 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, so I have my 1/4 teaspoon spoon, and I'm just going to add 3 of these. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now the recipe says to mix well, so I'm going to mix this for about 1 minute. I think 1 minute should be good enough. So I'm going to set a timer for 1 minute. Set a timer for 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute and counting.
Alright, so here's what our wet ingredients are looking like after being mixed together for about 1 minute. Okay, so next we'll want to take a separate bowl. Unfortunately, I don't have another large bowl in my house, so this will have to do for now. And we're going to be adding our dry ingredients. So the recipe is asking us to add 2 cups of flour. And just so you know, this is what a cup looks like. So we're going to be adding 2 of these to our bowl. Alright, next the recipe is asking us to add half a teaspoon of baking soda to our dry ingredient bowl. So this is what a half a teaspoon looks like. We're going to be and next we'll be adding half a teaspoon of salt. And now I'm just going to lightly mix this all together. Alright, and now I'm going to grab my bowl with the wet ingredients and add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. And I recommend doing this slowly, don't just dump it in all at once. My dry ingredients have been added to the wet ingredients and now it's time to mix. And I'm going to be using a large spoon for this. Okay, so now I'm going to preheat my oven to 375 degrees. And while that's preheating, I'm going to add my cookie dough to a baking sheet. Now it is optional for you to roll the dough out and use cookie cutters so your cookies turn out in different shapes, but I think I'm just going to leave it at a simple basic cookie shape. I'm going to grab a little bit of dough and just roll it out into a ball and then place them on my baking sheet. I did spray my baking sheet down with non-stick grease. I recommend using something so your cookies don't stick to your cooking sheet. Place my cookie dough on the baking sheet and I pressed firmly on the dough to flatten them out, and this is what they look like. So now my oven is preheated to 375 degrees and I'm going to go ahead and pop these bad boys in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, so our cookies are out of the oven. I'm going to let these cool down for about 10 minutes before we try them. So our cookies are all done cooling off. Now since they are called Totally Tea Cake Cookies, I did brew some tea to enjoy these with. This is totally optional. Thank you so much for joining us for this program. Gina, our teen librarian, and Karen, our adult services specialist, both have cooking programs that they do, so be sure to check those out and visit our website for more information on our programs. Thank you again for joining us and for supporting our library. See you soon!